New at 9, the key to learning for hundreds of black students. Fox 23 morning anchor Michelle Lynn found out how an important piece of African American history is rooted right here in Green Country.
These 4 textbooks were used in classrooms around the country, and they were written right here in Drumright.
It's surprising how far these books have actually traveled.
Educator Emma Akin came to the segregated Dunbar School in 1930, a white woman who had never actually had a conversation with a black person.
Some of the books that she used in her teaching.
She was shocked to find there were no textbooks featuring African American children, no stories about leaders in their community.
I think as a white person, we cannot fully understand that because we have always had it.
The only books she could find were Little Hannibal and Little Black Sambo, portrayals that were negative, not at all what she saw in the children at Dunbar. So in 1933, Akin started writing her own textbooks. With their parents' permission, she took photos of her students and collected stories about their families.
It was unheard of for a white woman to go into a black home, but they welcomed her so she emanated love.
In 1938, a publisher picked up the Negro American series and distributed the books to segregated schools across the country.
We have had several visitors come in and when seeing the books, and they said, "Oh, I had that."
Instead of reading about Dick and Jane in the 1940s and 1950s, most African American children read about real-life Dunbar children like Harold Adams and Annabelle Richardson.
We found out Adams passed away in 2010, but his widow says he still talked about what a difference Akin made in his life. Richardson lives in Wichita now and remembers everything Akin did beyond just teaching lessons. She brought movies to school because she knew black children couldn't go to the movie theater in town.
When this picture was taken, she remembered that she didn't know that they were going to be taking her picture, and it upset her because her sock had fallen down. And she thought that was, awful, but now that she sees it, she says, "Wasn't I a cute little girl?"
Deborah Wilson's been with the Drumright Historical Society for 16 years and still gets excited sharing Akin's legacy. She says Dunbar students felt like celebrities when they'd be recognized as Harold or Annabelle from the books. Now that collection of 4 books written right here in Drumright are on display at the National Historical Museum of African American History and Culture at the Smithsonian. The museum curator and board members attended the grand opening in Washington, D.C. this fall.
For a small-town teacher to be elevated and exhibited in the Smithsonian for textbooks that she wrote for her children, her students, she's probably dancing up in heaven.
The museum is reprinting Emma Akin's books. You'll be able to buy them here at the Drumright Museum or on Amazon in the coming months. Reporting in Drumright, covering news that matters, Michelle Lynn, Fox 23 News.
Fox 23 reached out to Tulsa Public Schools. There were 6 segregated elementary schools, 1 segregated junior high, and 1 segregated high school, and we're trying to find out if they still have copies of the Negro American series. We now know